Welcome to GamerWatch, episode 7. Today we are going to be talking about uh, Pokimane drama on Twitch. Well, I don't want to turn this channel turn into the next Keemstar sort of type of channel. It feels like there is some valid discussion to be had. So yeah, I'm Rom,
You know
and
what,
I'm here with
Ash, what's up?
yeah. So Ash, how you been?
Doing pretty good. I saw
Yeah.
some spicy drama, if that's what you want to call it, on Pokimane recently.
Mm-hmm. Certainly is. So yeah, let's just kind of dive right into it. So we obviously all of this. There's always some element of crap going on with Pokimane. Not necessarily through any fault of her own. People want to make a name off of her, which I feel like may certainly be the case here. Well, may certainly is. Yeah. Anyways, Leafy, this guy. Would you like to give a little bit of background on him?
Yeah, Leafy's been known. Um, he's like Keemstar. He
Yeah.
does like drama videos, but it's more about like cringy slash more edgy type of feel to it. So
Yeah.
it pretty much just calls out the drama he wants. In the background, he has like some game going, right, and just
Hmm.
usually talks about it along with his personal opinion, but
Mm-hmm.
it tends to be exaggerated to the point of just edginess, right? Like super edgy, just to gain it, and he's gained an audience around that. So
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. And as he's always trying to gain an audience. Just a quick side note here. We are also as well. So as you listen to this episode, if you want to continue hearing this type of content, please leave a like, please subscribe, leave a comment if you'd like. We'll definitely respond because we don't exactly get thousands of comments every day. But yeah, we will hope to keep putting content forward for you guys to consume. Anyways, back to Leafy. So, all right, with regards to Leafy and Pokey specifically, Leafy put out, what I thought was one video, but, but as we were prepping for this episode, I saw he's put out quite a few videos centered around Pokimane. I know that you've gotten a chance to watch a few. I certainly watched a few. And so the crux of his sort of I'll just sort of give a little bit of a breakdown here. The crux of his argument seems to be that she doesn't seem to add very much to the conversation. She puts out a lot of low quality, low effort content, according to him. He really seems to hone in on the fact that she criticizes these YouTube content vultures who put together highlight packages without necessarily putting in too much effort with regards to editing, and they put it out there on YouTube and build an audience. And so he accuses her of kind of doing the same thing, even though they're different mediums to begin with. Talks about how she's honestly, after beyond that, while there might be a discussion to be had there, his argument devolves a bit, and he starts getting into sort of like just throwing out pejoratives, talking about how she's not that funny, how she's borderline ugly, not even that attractive. Brings up Keemstar's 2 out of 10 tweet about her just in terms of rating, like whatever. He talks about how he'd rather watch Alinity kill her cat with a knife than watch her stream. Pretty extreme, I think. And if he's learned anything from watching her streams, as he claims, even though that he'd rather watch her Alinity kill her cat with a knife rather than watch Poke stream, he talks about how he seems to be claim to be some sort of authority figure on judging her stream. Is that she adds, like I said, nothing. So there's a lot to unpack. How do you sort of see all this, breaking, going, I guess playing out, I should say.
well, so the problem is with Leafy's videos, right?
Yeah.
I do agree there are some points that could be debated or talked about at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
But all these videos are getting traction from like Leafy, and there's other people making similar type of videos coming out.
Yeah.
All that hate, like I mean, so at the end of at the last half of Leafy's videos, all he does is just talk about how her appearance, right? How she's
Yeah.
a 2 out of. I mean, he liked Keemstar's comment, right? 2 out of 10.
Yeah. 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10. Yeah.
Exactly.
He says there's a lot more attractive, as you said, titty streamers out there.
Right.
Lack of a better phrase. Yeah.
So I mean, that's the problem here is that like I think that actually this will go a long way of helping Poke because all these videos are chalked up to just hate, which I mean the last half was pretty much hate. But
Mhm.
any like valid points Leafy makes or anyone like these hate videos are making is going to be chalked up to hate also, right? So I think Leafy is only I don't think Leafy even cares about Pokey. He's just capitalizing on a potential topic,
Mhm.
right? And then feeding it to his audience, who might just be Pokey haters also, right?
Yeah.
But then he ruins the actual conversation of happening, right? So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's
It's
currently where it is right now.
yeah. So I mean, the way I see it, he seems to be talking a lot about like he specifically honed in on an interaction she had with a viewer, where she criticized this viewer for sort of taking her content, and just putting together these highlight videos on YouTube. And while the viewer didn't monetize her content, her Twitch content, the viewer didn't go through that much effort to begin with. So she criticized him. She criticized this viewer for doing that, and then Leafy criticized Pokey for sort of doing the same. I would make the argument though that Twitch and YouTube are two really different worlds. YouTube, I mean, there's a lot more work there is a lot of work that goes into both if you want to be successful and especially reach the levels that Pokey has reached. But I would say that at least I would say that you have to there's a lot of potential pitfalls that could sort of quote unquote ruin your stream and your potential income earnings. But YouTube is obviously caters to a different set of skills where there's a lot of editing, video editing, audio issues to you edit. Whereas Twitch is a lot more in your face and current and less. There's less of a presentation element to it. It's just kind of raw, and Twitch doesn't require what Leafy is asking of Twitch, in my opinion. I mean, wouldn't you agree a little bit to that they're different mediums to begin with?
Yeah. So they are different mediums, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, Twitch. Well, what Twitch is streaming, like live streaming versus recorded content, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the more of the argument was that the amount of effort, while streaming does require potentially less effort than YouTube, right?
Yeah.
I think the comparison is that she called in this person out first for the amount of effort he's putting into his videos.
Mm-hmm.
And while then she makes Leafy makes the argument that she doesn't put that much effort into reacting to the videos, and I think he's partly right there,
Mm.
because so let me talk about why it's not her fault in terms of why Leafy's wrong.
Yeah.
So Pokey has to build up an audience, right? If she just did this with no audience or no backing, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's not going to get any traction from that, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of working hard, she had to build up something. So I think she put in the effort there, right? But in terms of the actual video at hand, legally, yes, highlighting. I think you're allowed to create highlights if you do not monetize them based on
Yeah.
YouTube's rules. And what she's doing technically transformative. I personally think that if all she's doing is eating food and putting her face on there,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's still low effort compared to the highlights that are being made. So, but I do see how there are different platforms and what she's doing can be like how much work she had to put in there to even get to that level is actually a bit different than just making highlight videos, because they're only there not because of him but because of her. So
Yeah, so we've had this conversation before, sort of a little bit about her. So first of all, I'm not a huge Twitch watcher to begin with. I've kind of got into it a little bit lately, especially since I myself have been putting myself out there on Twitch. But so I've kind of started absorbing some content. I have seen her before on YouTube in conjunction with other content creators. Like she will pop in and like do collaborations with different people. Like Rekful, for instance, was one person. She did some podcasts with him, which I found really fascinating, and thought she showed a lot. She had valid input on those. So I don't know if I'll take your word for it that perhaps lately that's become the exception, not the rule, with regards to the level of her content, right? But I would argue that it's most likely to begin with that a lot of big Twitch streamers do exactly what Leafy is accusing Pokimane of doing to begin with.
Right, right. And
Yeah, like reacting Andes. That's like the thing, right?
I'm not disagreeing with you there. Okay,
Yeah,
100%. These streamers do the exact same thing, and if you ask me, do I think there's equally low effort as Pokimane?
yeah,
100%. I would be 100% first one to say it, right?
yeah.
But I mean, I don't think anyone's. I'm hoping no one anyone's disagreeing with that statement I just made, right? Because I
Right.
do believe if you can't just call one person low effort and not the other person if they're doing the same thing, right?
Absolutely.
But I mean, if you're comparing the situation at hand is Pokemon specifically compared to making highlight videos, right?
Right.
So yes, everything else is low effort if they do the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then, if we both agree that what she's doing to begin with is low effort, then I think that's a valid argument for why she's not. Like, she can say whatever she wants, right? Freedom of speech, whatever, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's hypocritical for her to call someone else out for making highlights.
My okay. So I have so okay. Yes, the person who is taking Pokey's content and putting it on YouTube, technically they did nothing wrong, by by the books. Everything was legal, so to speak. He did not monetize his videos supposedly. I don't actually click on each video. I don't know how you tell. I guess you tell by there being no ads or whatever. However, he is still sort of. It's not. I wouldn't say it's like a necessarily a philanthropic sort of venture where he's doing it for the sake of the community. Like,
Does it have to be?
I mean, he can build an audience and a channel off of it, and maybe create a side channel that's associated with it. That's his own content, and maybe by driving people to this Pokey highlights, sort of YouTube channel, he might eventually benefit later. I'm not now. Granted, this is a slippery slope argument what I'm making, and that's not fair. What I'm saying necessarily. I acknowledge that, but I'm not gonna say that it isn't impossible for him to as quickly as tomorrow start benefiting off of her content. Like, it is still possible. So it still feels icky that these highlight packages to begin with, like taking someone else's work and putting it on a YouTube page and then building a channel off of someone else's work, while you don't necessarily can't necessarily monetize that legally. You can benefit indirectly off of it, is my argument.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But I mean, you acknowledge that it's a slippery slope. Yes,
Yeah.
there is potential there, but at the same time, people aren't there. Like, if you go to some YouTube videos or YouTube channels, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are there. Like, for example, the two more common highlight videos of Overwatch,
Mm-hmm.
Noob Hunter and Fresh Nuts. People
Okay.
know who they are. Like, they come for the highlights, but they know Noob Hunter, they know Fresh Nuts, they know who the people are, right?
Mm-hmm.
These highlight videos, the person behind the screen doesn't even exist, right? Like, you know them as a Pokimane highlight channel, right?
Right.
Not the Noob Hunter Overwatch highlight channel, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So, yes, it's theoretically possible for them to benefit from it. But in reality, I personally believe it's going to be intensely hard to actually gain any benefit from it, because all this association is with the streamer to begin with, right? Never
Yeah.
with the YouTube video, with the YouTube channel itself, especially when you're only doing one streamer and not like a collaboration of multiple streamers and highlights, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is possible. Is it likely? I mean, maybe not. I personally don't think so. I think there's very few exceptions. Cat Danny from Asmongold's streamer.
Right. Yeah.
Asmongold acknowledges Cat Danny. I think they're in some kind of partnership, maybe. I'm not quite sure on that.
Perhaps. Yeah.
So, only with a collaboration or a acknowledgement from like the streamer itself, where something might grow from it.
Mm-hmm.
But without the streamer assistance, I think it's very hard to gain anything from it.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible. I don't, like I said, I don't watch Pokey too much. I don't know if they have a bit of like a if they come to some sort of like symbiotic sort of agreement, right? Where like they both benefit and so they have that sort
I mean,
of
she does
relationship.
exposure, right? So
But does she? I mean, does she really though? Because like,
yeah, I
she's
mean,
already one of the
watch.
biggest streamers on Twitch. Like, does
Right.
she
Okay.
need some? Right? Like,
You might argue she doesn't need it,
yeah,
but exposure is exposure. I
sure,
still think that, right? The amount of effort, like the amount of effort they're going through it is, you might call them low level or like stealing highlights, right?
mm-hmm.
But people see this, and if they like it, you just go to the actual the viewer, the actual streamer, right? So I mean,
Sure.
you might argue like how much benefit there is, but at least there is a benefit at the very least, right? Would you agree with
Yeah,
that?
there's probably a benefit, but I would also say that argue that we saw in the interaction Pokey had with that content taker. I guess I don't want to call it a content vulture or what. I don't know what you would call it, like a highlight creator, right?
Highlight creator, yeah,
Um,
sure.
that I don't want to say say it in a negative way. That's more sort of fair to him. She did say like how she did sort of talk about taking down his videos. So she clearly didn't see any value in the exposure. She didn't value it as much as maybe say Asmon does with Cat Danny, right? So
For
it might
sure.
be up to the content creator, I would argue.
I think that she might have an official like highlight person, right? So
She may, yeah,
that's why. And so she might be at the like if this was 2 years ago, how much would she actually care about someone doing this? Maybe
yeah,
not as much because the exposure is a lot more, right?
yeah,
So, but now she's so big, it doesn't even matter because she's probably top 10, I think, right?
yeah,
I think so. I'm not quite
probably,
sure. Yeah.
yeah,
So at this point, maybe not. But then, of her point of view, is that it's not beneficial to me anymore. Let me take it down.
yeah,
I don't necessarily agree with that mentality. I don't think that justifies. I mean, she could do. I mean, again, if it's allowed, it's allowed, right? But I don't necessarily justify it in my morally speaking of her doing that. If that's her reasoning.
yeah. Um, yeah, I have to wonder, considering now like we've reached a level where there has been so much sort of brewing negativity, whether just bubbling under the surface or actually being more out and out. I think with this Leafy video, it's sort of kind of completely the cat's a little bit out of the bag. No, I shouldn't say it that way, like as if like someone was hiding something, but like it has sort of put this negativity front and center. And so kind of going back to our toxicity in gaming episode, where we discuss like some expectations of female streamers and things like that. She has found this negativity to be enough that she is going to be taking a break for a month. I mean, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, of her. I mean, yeah, I could definitely see how it gets to you. I mean, Rekfo. I mean, Rekfo is a prime example, right?
Yeah,
Um, it is hard. I mean, so there's been some comments on her Twitter like, oh, I mean, it must be so hard for a streamer to take a break and everything. I mean, it is a lot of work to stream, 6 hours every day, right?
yeah,
Whether it is just watching videos. I mean, it's still some effort you have to put in, and I can see how you might want a break to recharge, right?
yeah. I
D-
mean,
uh,
even if you're a low effort content creator, right? Like we have
you always need a
we
break, right?
right, yeah, like you still have to take the time to like, I mean, it requires a certain level of energy to interact with your chat, to sort of, I mean, even for Poke, like putting on makeup, getting ready, like looking presentable for your stream, right? Like a lot of people go through that effort, and I'm sure she's gone through that every day, like to undergo all that work. I mean, I'm not crying for her, like she's still a very made quite a bit of money, but like it's good to take a break when you're facing this sort of negative cloud of energy,
So
which
do
I
you think it's
feel
because
like,
of the negativity, or just she needs a break?
I mean, I certainly think so. She specifically said, I want to be happy and excited to make content for you all, and I'm looking forward to getting back in that headspace, implying that well, not implying, almost directly saying like she's been kind of unhappy recently. She's feeling this burnout, and
I mean,
negativity can certainly contribute to that.
burnout's definitely a valid point, right? I
Yeah,
think it just there's a couple ways you can take her comments and tweets and everything.
yeah,
I would be, I personally would refrain from like making judgments or
yeah,
leaning the more criticizing side,
yeah,
unless I know more of her intentions, right? because
Sure.
it's hard to just call her out. I mean, it's very easy to call her out and be like, oh, it's so easy. You're a streamer. You make millions, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
whatever amount she makes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Way above. And yes, she does. I mean, but at the same time, she's been doing this for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yes, some hate has been given towards her, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't like. I think there's potential criticism there, but only based on her intentions.
Yeah.
So, I can't. I mean, at this point, I can only be like, good luck, Pokimane, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't really step farther than that.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think like this negativity that she's facing, like it might. I'm just like if I could like ask Leafy anything, it would be why specifically her. Like there are,
I mean, it's
from
obvious.
like I mean yes, it is obvious, but like I'd want I don't know if Leafy necessarily has the self awareness to sort of understand why he's targeting her as much as say why doesn't his critique, I mean he can still focus on her, but why doesn't it include other people? Like he doesn't even acknowledge the fact that his criticisms of her very easily can transfer over to, I mean, insert any big Twitch streamer. I'm not saying all of them do it, but obviously a lot of people do the same thing, in the sense of reacting. Like Twitch streams is like the big streamers can sometimes go 10 hours long, 8 hours long, 7 hours long. Like that's a lot of time to be the focus of an audience of say 20k, 30k, 40k people, and make sure every minute of those hours are sort of high quality, right? Like there are going to be peaks and drops in terms of quality you're getting, and it probably declines as the stream goes on longer and longer. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, possibly. I definitely can see how, especially the longer you stream. I mean, she only streams for like 6 hours at a time, so
Mm-hmm.
that's still gonna be pretty long. Um,
Yeah.
Leafy's point was, I think, in relation to that specific YouTube video, but
Yeah.
so I think that's kind of separate from like, because they're just comparing the low effort of that part to the videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I mean, over a 6 hour period, yes, you can dip below, and that might be more justification, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of comparing to, so yeah, why does he does it? Well, I mean, it's easy content, right? I mean, there's
It
a
is. We've seen the views on his
yeah.
videos, and like they clearly, yeah.
So I
Like
mean,
there's a pattern there.
is there criticism of Pokey, right? So
Yeah, we can
yes,
talk about that. Like that's fair.
so yeah, okay. I mean, so let's quickly go over it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a hate channel by any means, right?
No, absolutely not.
Um, so in the video, so I do think personally it's low effort if you're comparing the two, right? You
Mhm.
you might disagree. There's another part of it is that same person. She then goes on his Instagram, which so his Instagram. She goes to the highlight channel. His
Yeah.
Instagram is linked in the description below, right? He
Yeah.
goes there. She goes there with her 20k viewers, checks it out. I think makes some comments
Yeah.
about it, right? And yes, it's technically there, but is it? I mean, it's legal, right? I mean, she's allowed. She technically could do that, but is it morally right? I think maybe not. So that's one valid criticism.
Yeah.
Another thing is, um, there was a different YouTuber makes a video addressing the simping that happens for Pokimane, right?
Mhm.
Where there, and so let me just preface by saying simping is not necessarily directly related to Pokimane. It's just a byproduct of being a female streamer usually,
Yeah.
right? So, but he talks about the simping and how people simp to her or give up money, lots of money to simp to her, or donate to her, right?
Yeah.
She sees the video, she reacts to it, she then goes to the description again. She really likes descriptions, and sees the sponsors and starts making fun of the sponsors, right?
Sure.
I think that's another point of contention, right?
Yeah.
I think that's stepping over the line. A lot of people did call her out on that. She said that it's justified because no one should be. I think I forget her exact tweet, but something about like not supporting this kind of content.
Mhm.
So yes, there's actual criticism. I personally believe there's actual criticism to be made. People are just like going overboard with it, right? Just like alinity, it goes from criticism, which I also think valid, right,
Yeah.
to just hating on her, right? People just take it way too far, way too far.
Yeah, like so in our discussions pre-show here, we were talking about how they're okay. in terms of Leafy's overall presentation of his gripes with her, um, there is like a thread of truth to some of what he's saying. Like there is some stuff that's actually of substance, and but that again, like I mentioned, that thread being that maybe there's like low quality content, like maybe like not necessarily she's not necessarily putting forward, like she's eating a lot on stream and just watching other people and reacting to other people's content.
Which is fine by
Fair.
itself. Yeah, that's fine
Fair.
by itself.
A lot of people do that. Like a lot of people lean on that, whether it's on Twitch or on YouTube. Like a lot of people lean on that sort of content where you just can't be playing the games that people want to play all the time. Like that, sometimes you just want to chill and, relax, and that's fine. Like if people stick around for that, like some of the biggest Twitch streamers that I've seen do that regularly. Like that is not specific to her. That's nothing unique to her. Everything else started, getting bogged down, and like his video was ultimately so he did a disservice to himself by starting to get into commenting on her attractiveness, commenting about her how funny she is, which again, these are subjective things that, what one person may find attractive, another person might not. What one person finds funny, another person may not. And then, going even beyond that, like just beyond the subjective argument of, going to extremes of talking about rather watching Alinity, slaughter her cat. Like he did a disservice to himself. So there is a conversation to be had about low effort content and why people watch it to begin with. But that it's, to me, the criticism, okay, maybe, you know what, I would maybe also agree with you on the sponsorship thing, because that's starting to attack people where they make their money. But in terms of the Instagram thing, I didn't necessarily disagree with that, because the person was right there with her. The person named his Instagram the same thing that he did for his YouTube channel and for his, I think for his Discord ID. So that seems fair game. Like he's put it out there, so therefore if it's all the same, people might search that. That's not necessarily, I don't have an issue with that. I don't know. To me, the criticism sort of end there, though. Like, I don't necessarily think Leafy had much validity to his overall in terms of his all his different points. He had much validity to his arguments.
Yeah, of course. I think I think he took a leap there, took a stretch, just trying to make some more content in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked, right? I mean, he got the views, so
yeah,
you can't necessarily blame him on that part.
Yeah.
I think that overall, Pokimane has seen a lot of more hate towards, and she's made a tweet about simping, right? That's like the big idea. I think that's hurting her, or like where the hate's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
It's the idea of simping in general, right? The idea that men think women are pedestals, or they put women on a pedestal, right?
Mm-hmm.
They try to date them. They think they have a chance with them. They think they're trying to relate. And it's the idea that people say, hey, the only reason you're getting any content, right, is because of simps, or any audience, right?
Yeah.
It's because of simps. And so I think recently she's tried to fight back against that. Be like, hey, no, I'm a streamer. And yeah, I mean, I'm more than just a female, right? I think that's what she's trying to go for.
Yeah.
And I think that's valid, 100%. Like, I think it's valid. But I think her approach to it might be misguided. And I think that's pouring more fuel on the fire, right?
Yeah.
Versus, maybe letting it simmer off a little bit. And so, yeah, I mean, reality is some of her audience is simps.
Sure.
Nothing to do with her. I mean, that's just how it is when you get female streamers. I've seen streamers. I've told you this, Rom, right?
Yeah.
I've seen WoW streamers streaming a week. $200 donations, 50 WoW 50
female
channels.
WoW streamers, right?
Yeah, and WoW streamers don't necessarily do that well, right?
Yeah.
Out of the big names, so
yeah.
Clearly simping happens. I don't think these women are necessarily promoting it.
Yeah.
But it happens. So I think she's taking the attack personally, and because some people are making it personally. I mean, that's what you're gonna get no matter what kind of. If you're a big streamer, you're gonna get hate, right?
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
In terms of the actual argument of simping, yeah, it exists. I mean, it's nothing on Pokimane, but it just exists.
I would, yeah. So, my, I guess my issue ultimately is I just see, there's just like a level of like, I don't know if this is even a word, jadedness in this like community of Twitch, which, you would think that like a lot of people talked about like positivity after Reckful's, death, and
That's a
I know, we knew it was gonna be short lived, like we kind
yeah.
of saw that coming. But like, there's just this is just like I don't know another like this is like beyond just like hating, like this is like an actual like obsession at a certain point of, and yes, he's making money off of it, so I could certainly concede like okay, he's clearly intentionally doing this for just for clicks, honestly. And you know what, one of the hardest things on YouTube, as we're learning, is to get people to click through, to retain an audience, and build it up. And uh, we looked at his like to dislike ratio on some of these videos. I think one of them was at almost 300k likes versus just 20k dislikes. That's an insane like to dislike ratio. That's better than 10 to 1. And he is putting content out there for an audience that wants to consume this sort of audience, and that's just speaks to the like this negative sort of like people crave that. Like this is turned into like Twitch is, it's essentially, I mean, we're talking about this negativity. It's like a TMZ-esque sort of world where, any sort of drama, conflict, even a spark of anything, whether there's any substance to it or not, is just people are hungry for that.
Yeah, they are, and I think that's part of the problem with Pokimane trying to hit back at this,
Yeah.
because I think she probably does realize it, but I don't know why she's still trying to fight it per se, in the way she's doing it, because the people watching her the people hating on her
Yeah.
are as you said, looking for the next drama. They're looking for they're just looking to be trolls, right? And you just saying, "Ha, guys, guess what, trolls? I actually got 10k, 11k viewers with no camera and a 5 second delay. Now what? I mean, they don't care. you just
Yeah.
you're talking to yourself at that point. And I mean, she's taken a stance of supporting female streamers, and that has become, and how she's posted those stances and tweets and everything
Mm-hmm.
has caused this to, as I said, fuel on the flame. And I guess maybe the 1 month will simmer off. I think everything will simmer off after the 1 month, but
Yeah, like a month in the sort of live stream fails slash Twitch sort of Keemstar world is an eternity. Yeah,
right.
like, I mean, yeah, it'll blow by just fine. And yeah, I mean, she'll get. I'm not crying for it necessarily, just because like
Yeah,
I'm
she'll
not
be
like
fine.
she's made so much money.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
insane. Yeah, like she'll be all right. So yeah, I mean, any sort of as we wrap up here, any sort of final takes or anything on
Yeah,
the situation? Anything you want to throw in there?
I mean, we can just quickly go over her tweets because that was her response to everything, and
Okay,
then
sure.
just wrap it up from there.
Yeah.
So her main tweets is a more predominant, the one where she's taking a break, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's made some other tweets about um, I think one was calling out the different standards for men and women in gaming or streaming, right? How
Yeah.
if men make a mistake, they can just bounce back, right? People will support them, but if women makes a mistake, then that's more cutthroat. They won't be able to bounce back, right?
Yeah.
So that was one. She's made some others calling out Keemstar and all that stuff, and calling out, as you said, the simping and the how she says she didn't have a camera and she didn't have and she had a 5 second delay, but she still got 11k viewers, right?
Yeah.
In a bubble, those arguments don't necessarily hold up because there's a lot more to it. If you actually want to, so here's the thing: if you actually want to have an actual debate about it,
Yeah.
those her arguments she's making don't necessarily have the added evidence to back it up per se, right? But in the reality, what's happening is she's making an argument. She's trying to hit back at the trolls and the haters, and nothing's and she's trying to reach some kind of betterment in the community, and it's not going to happen. So she's making these arguments without any much basis towards it per se, right? I don't mean
Yeah,
much basis, but more like it's not like finely tuned
yeah,
because she's trying to hit back at trolls mostly, right? And then so then you give actual ammunition for maybe the people who are like less haters, but still kind of like dislike her, right?
yeah.
And so that's why we're at this situation. So yeah, just wrapping up. 1 month, probably everything will cool off, but there's a problem in this community.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of people like in these arguments, people have made up their minds. Like they're not going to just, oh, Pokimane put out this tweet, therefore, no face cam delay, whatever, and she had X number of viewers. Like that's not going to change a lot of these people's minds. Like the people who fit into Leafy's audience, the people who will like his videos, aren't necessarily going to. That tweet won't change their worldview. Like
Right.
that, their worldview. I mean, I'm not gonna say all of them are, being misogynist, but like if they're sticking around Leafy's videos, like they clearly crave a level of like just negativity and a level of hate that he's putting forth. Same, for the people who are like into the whole Keemstar thing. Um, they just want the TMZ level of coverage. And so, which, that's fine. There's an audience for that. I'm not necessarily going to blame him. Like, I'm always all for people benefiting off of whatever they can, provided it puts out, it's not directly harming anyone. Um, and maybe an argument could be made that he is directly sort of maybe. I mean, he's going at someone right here. Like he's going after a big gun in the Twitch community, and has benefited from it. So I mean, I'm not necessarily one to like ban it because it's not like he's like bordering on like threats or violence or anything like that. Um, but it's not something like I'd be proud of if I was him. Like it's not like this isn't something like you want to be known for necessarily. If you make money off it, sure, but it's not like I don't want, at least for me, I don't want to be known for putting out this level of negativity in the world and just profiting off of it. And so he's doing that, and Pokey can do whatever she wants to try and fight it, but it's not going to take, quote unquote. Like it's not
Yeah.
going to work. And that's important. You just a month long break if that's what she feels like she needs. Between the Fed drama and like that was a big change right in their lives. Like she had to move because of it, and now this obviously.
Well,
Stuff that's
she
been
already
going
had
on.
a plan though. I think that was. I think she was getting more fed up with the Fed, but it wasn't because of the revelations. I think just part of it.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Again, I don't watch her too much. I
Yeah.
thought,
Yeah. Fair
thought
enough.
this
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can understand the month long break, and she talked about how she hasn't even taken a month off since like in her high school days. So she's earned it, and do that. Like part of like whenever I've seen her in collaborations with other people, there's always like this element of what feels like sort of like positivity and like just like kind of being, I guess, quote unquote wholesomeness that. I don't know if that she puts that out and that's like her thing. It seems like her thing as far as what I'm seeing. So like I respect that. Like anything to sort of fight the negativity. Like this is the thing. Theoretically, live stream fails was potentially going to try and put out there after Reckful's thing. Obviously, like we said, not gonna. That was going to be short lived, but
Yeah.
more power to her if she comes back and keeps doing her thing. Like if people want to talk about the quality of her content, fine, but talk about everyone else's too. Like I mean, I'm not. I was about to actually name Twitch people, but I don't want to like put that out there and just like bite me in the ass down the road. But people do that, they react, and that's fine. It's just their thing. But sure, it's low quality, whatever. Just move on. Like we have bigger fish to fry. I feel like.
Sure. Yeah. I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So yeah. I think we are wrapping it up here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So this has been GamerWatch. We're talking about Pokimane, episode 7. I'm Rom,
And I'm Ash.
and please again like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you'd like. Hit smash that notification bell. I know
Oh
people
yeah.
love saying that. Just smash the shit out of it. This has been GamerWatch, and we will see you next time.
All right. Take care.
Toodles.